Hello, today I wanted to talk about something new that has arrived in my tenants that I've been pretty interested to try out. A couple of slides and then we'll have a little look at it as well. What it is Copilot Notebooks. Copilot Notebooks are a curated space for interacting with Copilot in M365. It allows you to pull in files, chats, kinda, notes and other information as reference materials, and then you can interrogate and ask it questions about that in real time. Why you might want to use this, there's a few different use cases we'll talk about, but it allows you to basically draft content, summarize information, explore stuff if you're trying to figure out questions, and you can even ask it for an audio overview in along the same kind of lines as NotebookLM and other AI tools are allowing you to do, where it'll generate you two people talking about things in a podcast style format. Might not be great for some use cases, might be great for what you're trying to do with it. Personally, not something I've used yet. Um, it is also a way of collaborating on content with Copilot. For example, at the moment, you can pull data out of Copilot into Loop through Pages, but then interacting with it, asking it further questions, interacting is a little bit limiting. Notebooks is a partial way of solving that problem. Also, as your sources update, and you can pull in sources from around M365, the kind of interaction and the information you're getting back from Copilot will update as well. Sources are your standard basic Office documents. You've got your Words, your PDFs, your Excels, your Loops, and your OneNotes. You can't pull in URLs. It is a little misleading in the interface. There's a space for adding URLs. That is only to point at those kinds of documents, not for general web content. You can also define custom instructions, which give it context. You can explain the sources. You can give it information about how you want the tone to be when it responds. Generally, any kind of custom expectations you want to set with it. Possible use cases, things like project planning. You can import and reference previous project documents, information. So when you're trying to set up a new plan or you want help with how to shape a particular plan, you can kind of have it filter through those specific documents. That's different to the general M365 Copilot, where it will reference data that it sees fit across your entire environment. This is focusing it down to those specific sources. Sales preparation. You can import data about previous deals that you've done, previous information about the customer, tell it that you want to make a new sales proposal. It will again filter through those custom sources. Stuff like onboarding, if you've got a new starter, you could point them at a whole bunch of technical documentation, your processes. They can have their own kind of Q&A personal interactions with a notebook to kind of source that. And then research, that's something that I've done myself. You can combine this with other copilots, not natively, but if you want to dive deep into a topic, you could say go and ask the research frontier agent a particular question, deep dive. You can take that export as a loop file, place it into a notebook, and then kind of play around with it. Um, so that's how I have been using it. If I hop over into my different browser window, to find it, if you go to the new M365 landing page, so that is either Copilot or m365.cloud.microsoft. And then I'm in a tiny browser window, so you won't kind of see it here. But if you expand this, you will see notebooks down the bottom there. Here you can see I've created myself a M365 IT Pro notebook. And if we click in that, you can see my reference sources where I've got a bunch of pages that I've created specifically inside this notebook. Or with the little chain link icon here, you can see this is pulling in a page out of Loop that I've created. I've also got some PDF documents here that I'm referencing. And then up here, I've got my custom instructions around what kind of thing I want this notebook to be used for. For me, I'm playing around with using this for kind of helping explain stuff in the tone that I would use. And I am referencing a whole bunch of my previous LinkedIn videos and content that I have generated to make sure it's shaping it. And down the bottom here, you can see I'm giving it information about how I want the video to sound. I'm telling it about the sources, what kind of stuff is in the loop files, etc. To interact with it, this again is a challenge in this little tiny window here, but you can see I've got my main Copilot space, so I can ask it questions. This is where I can find my audio file generation, or I can click into a particular source. And then as I expand this window, you can see I can open up a new chat window specifically on the side here, and that will be in the context of this notebook, and I can reference this particular page and file. What are some of the limitations? There's a few at the moment. The main one being that this is a personal thing. So it is only a notebook for my use. It isn't something that I can share with a group or with a wider team. There is overlap here with agents. If it's something you needed to share with a team, you would probably be better off generating a custom agent and having that interact with stuff. And the main one as well for me is there's no web sources for search or for filtering or for grounding. It would be nice if I could point this at my blog, again for further examples of my writing or my input style. Again, for my use case, not a big deal because I could copy that content if I really wanted to, paste it into Loop, and then have it accessible inside this notebook. So there we go. Latest development as part of Microsoft moving forward with Copilot. You can see how they're starting to tie the threads of all of these different elements together. Like I said, personal use case for me, using it for adapting stuff into my writing style. Have you been looking forward to this? Have you been playing with it? Curious to see how people are finding it. Anyway, that's it for today. Catch you next time. Bye bye.